Hi everybody, it's Chris from the Evermore podcast, Newcastle United podcast on the Evermore YouTube channel. We're back with another Rumour Has It video with some more transfer links to Newcastle United this summer. Window hasn't even opened yet, as we've said, and there's been so many names linked already, but we're going to try and bring you as many of these rumours as we possibly can. Just before I get stuck into this play, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, please consider clicking that like and subscribe button. The channel's grown really well thanks to all the support from you wonderful people. Would love you to click that button if you haven't already, and the notification bell to let you know when we come out with another one of these videos, or it was just a weekly Evermore podcast. We've got loads of specials coming as well, so make sure you check that out. We're going to be back on Wednesday with a top 10 players podcast, which will be really fantastic. A little bit of a play on the match of the day one, so definitely check that out, guys. But we'd love you to get us over that 1,000 subscriber mark before the season starts, so please click that button. So listen, before we get stuck into this, then, there's been a lot of links to players, obviously, in the last few weeks, and it's clear that our number one target for this position is Moussa Diaby. There's been rumours about anywhere between a 55 to 65 million pound bid being launched with Bayer Leverkusen any day now, but there seems to be a little bit of noise that potentially Leverkusen might be playing hardball, and potentially we won't go as high as that. So we seem to have some backup options. The right wing seems to be a priority position that Eddie Howe wants to get sorted, and I'm sure Dan Ashworth has had a conversation with Eddie Howe about that. So if Moussa Diaby doesn't come off, which we really hope to God he does, because he's a phenomenal player. He brings goals and assists, as we said in one of our earliest videos. He'd be an unbelievable addition to this squad, and arguably one of the best players in his position in the league. I really believe that if he comes in. But it's big money, for a player like that, 22-year-old French international, 55 to 65 million quid. But listen, that's the going rate at the minute. So if we don't get Moussa Diaby, there seems to be some backup options. And one of the backup options is this player, who is Ismaila Sarr, from Watford. Now, we all remember Ismaila Sarr when Watford started in the Premier League. He hit it like he hit like a bloody duck to water, really, like a house on fire. He was flying out the traps. He looked a breath of fresh air. He was running at players. He was taking them on. He was scoring goals. He looked like a real threat. He's 24 years old. And he's right-footed. He's had, you can see there, he had 39 games in the Championship season before with 13 goals and 4 assists. He was phenomenal there. He made the step to the Premier League, started really well, but then tailed off towards the end. So he had 22 appearances, 5 goals and 2 assists. I think Watford even stopped him going to the African Cup of Nations, I think, which was a bit ropey as well. But, he is a talented player. Mark's loaded up his stats there, and they're not great, to be honest, but they're not going to be great anyway because they're in a really struggling Watford side that was comfortably relegated. But you can see there in terms of goals per game, he started well and he tailed off. So his goals per 90 minutes is 0.24. So he's in the 46th percentile, which isn't too bad for a winger, really, if you look at it that way. Assists, 0.10 a game. So he's in the quite lower percentiles there of the 20%. Shots on target, though, and kind of goals to shot ratio, he's got a decent record there. So his 39.5% shot on target in the 68th percentile, and the goals to shot ratio 0.13 and 62, and his dribbles as well. He does dribble quite a lot. He runs at players, which is exactly what we need. His possession stats aren't great. He doesn't make a lot of key passes there, but as we said, he was playing in a really struggling Watford side. You can see from the heat map there, he hugs that right-hand side, which is obviously where we're looking to fill this position. So it's an interesting one with Ismaila Sarr because, like I said, I think the boy has got talent, and it could be one of those rough diamonds that give Eddie Howe a bit of time with. He could really polish him and make him a better player. Is he better than Miguel Almiron? Arguably, yes. Miguel Almiron doesn't have a great deal of end product. If you were to put Miggy's stats up against Sarr's there, it might look a little bit better. But, Newcastle did better in the second half of the season, so he's bound to look a bit better. Miggy offers a lot in terms of work rate. Going back defensively, I'm not sure Ismaila Sarr would offer you that. But, in terms of going forward, I think he'd be a better player. Is he a better player than Ryan Fraser? Not when Ryan Fraser's fit, in my opinion, but Ryan Fraser's 28. Ismaila Sarr's got, 4 years on Ryan Fraser, and he is injury prone. So we can't really rely on him for a full season. But if you look at the main target, as I said from the start of the video there, is Moussa Diaby. He's got to be the one that we throw the kitchen sink at. There's been disappointing news for Sven Botman recently. I think he was obviously our key centre-half target, who looks like that's drifted away. The club will not want to lose out on the number one right-winger target, which is Diaby. That seems to make a lot more positive noise. There doesn't seem to be any sign of that deal falling through unless we can't make the valuation with Leverkusen. But it's always hard to negotiate with clubs, especially when you're trying to prize one of their star assets off them. you know, and they know you've got money, you know, so they're obviously going to play hardball. But, you know, hopefully, you know, it'll be Moussa Diaby that comes through the door. But if Ismaila Sarr comes through the door, you know, he could push for a starting berth in the first team, you know, maybe playing under Eddie Howe, playing with maybe slightly better players like a Callum Wilson to feed. You know, you might see some of them stats improve, but I'm still not entirely sure about the lad. I think as a squad player, he'd be decent. But for 25 million quid, you want a bit more than a squad player. You know, obviously he's 2 years older than you know, Moussa Diaby, but he's a hell of a lot cheaper. And you know, money shouldn't really be an option for the club now. You know, we are technically the richest club in the world, so hopefully we shouldn't be penny pinching on this kind of quality of player. And it's a real must in terms of the position on the pitch. But let us know what you think about Ismaila Sarr. If you'd be happy